Animals in danger. An overheating home. A small furry mouse-like mammal is hot and thirsty. Its mountain home has gotten a lot warmer over the last few years. This overheated creature is the American pika. It's used to temperatures below freezing. The small animal can't survive if it's too hot. If temperatures reach even 78 degrees Fahrenheit, it can die. As mountain temperatures have risen, the pika has moved higher in order to escape the heat. But now it lives at the top of the mountain and doesn't have anywhere higher to go, and the heat keeps increasing. Heating up. Our planet is heating up. The warming is caused by human activity, including the use of gas, oil, and coal to power our homes, cars, and devices. Burning these fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide and other harmful gases into the air. The gases trap heat around the planet, causing the temperature to rise. The heat is also changing the climate, or typical weather, around the world. As the climate changes, some animals' homes are changing so much that the creatures can no longer find food, water, or shelter. A melting home. While the entire planet is warming, the Arctic, the cold, icy area around the North Pole, is heating up twice as fast as the rest of the world. The sea ice there, which many animals need for survival, is melting. Polar bears in the Arctic hunt for seals on floating sheets of ice. They often have to swim between chunks of sea ice. As Arctic ice melts, polar bears are finding fewer seals and must swim longer distances between pieces of ice. They are becoming so hungry and exhausted that they are in danger of extinction by 2100. Coral in crisis. Melting ice isn't the only danger out at sea. About a third of the carbon dioxide we create by burning fossil fuels ends up in the ocean. This makes the seawater more acidic. Some plants and animals, including coral reefs, can't live in water that becomes too acidic. Warmer, more acidic ocean waters are killing the algae that live inside coral and help feed and strengthen coral reefs. Without enough algae, corals become weak and die. Then, the fish and other sea creatures that create homes, raise their young, and find food in the reefs are at risk too. Danger along the coast. Closer to shore, warmer waters are making life more difficult for coastal creatures too. When water warms up, it expands to take up more space. An ocean temperature rise, seawater spreads out and pushes farther on shore. In some coastal areas, this causes flooding, especially at high tides or during strong ocean storms. In the United States, more than 200 plants and animal species are endangered because of rising sea levels. Dying of thirst. Flooding is destroying the homes of coastal animals, but as global temperatures rise, other animals are struggling to find enough water. Worldwide, dry places are getting drier because hotter air is drawing more moisture from the earth. This leads to less rainfall, which means rivers, lakes, and ponds dry up even faster. With lower water levels, fish are dying, and other animals are forced to wander far from home to find water to drink. There's nothing to eat. Dry weather can also make it hard for animals to find enough food. Every year, monarch butterflies migrate long distances to warmer lands for the winter. Monarch butterflies lay eggs on milkweed plants, which are the only food their caterpillars eat. But many of the areas the butterflies travel through are so dry that milkweed has disappeared. Without this plant, the number of monarchs that spend the winter in Mexico decreased 80% in the last 20 years. Millions of monarchs also used to winter in California, but fewer than 2,000 were counted in 2020. Space invaders. A warm planet is also causing some plants to move where they don't belong. Higher temperatures make it easier for invasive species to crowd out other native plants, as well as the animals that depend on them. Purple loosestrife is originally from Europe and Asia, but it has invaded marshes, meadows, and lakesides throughout North America. Its thick roots and stems crowd out native cattails and grasses. When these native plants disappear, so do the animals that eat, find shelter, and nest in them. Animals on the move. Today, many animals are leaving their usual homes to find food and shelter elsewhere. This is affecting animals in different ways. While a changing climate is shrinking the territories of some, warmer climates are letting other animals roam in even larger spaces. Starving Arctic polar bears are heading into land, looking for food to replace the seals that are disappearing with the sea ice. On land, they are finding grizzly bears. A warmer, less icy Arctic offers grizzlies more food options for longer periods of the year. These two kinds of bears now fight for control over the same territory. Trapped. Climate change has many animals on the move, but what about animals who can't move to safety quickly? Australia's koalas have faced habitat loss for years and at the hands of humans. Then, in 2019 and 2020, parts of Australia faced a severe drought, made worse by climate change. Powerful wildfires broke out, but because so much of the koalas' habitat had already been destroyed, they had nowhere else to escape to when the fires raged. What season is it? Some animals, such as the monarch, have always been on the move. They travel with the seasons. As the planet heats up, however, winters become shorter and warmer, and this is disrupting the natural cycle for many migrating birds and animals. The European pied fish catcher winters in Africa. When the days get longer in spring, it flies to Europe to lay eggs. Once hatched, the baby birds feed on caterpillars found on young oak trees. But with shorter, milder winters, the oak leaves are popping out earlier. By the time hungry flycatcher babies hatch, the caterpillars have already grown into moths. What are we doing about it? The threat to animals due to climate change is real, but all over the world, people are working hard to protect these animals. Some people have preserved or restored natural lands. Others are cleaning pollution from the ocean. The countries and peoples of the Arctic are carefully protecting the remaining ice in the area. Engineers and scientists have also developed energy that takes power from the sun, wind, and water without polluting the planet. If we work together to protect the planet, the future will be bright for all animals and for us. Save animals in danger. The problems animals are facing are a sign that the planet is unhealthy. You can help animals by keeping their habitat clean and safe. What can you do to save animals in danger? Animals in danger.